fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. The scenario is The Silent Clowder. It was written by John Hook, and he is also going to be our GM for tonight. Not only is this a one-shot, but it is a one-on-one game. So without any further delay, let's begin our journey into the darkness. John?
Tom. All right. So tell me, Tom, who are you?
Well, my name is Everett Cole, and I collect rare books and tomes. I have a little shop, and I have a number of, I guess you call them agents worldwide. They're not directly employed by me, but they look for interesting old books and correspond with me and then send me information, and I decide whether I'll purchase it or not for my shop.
Okay. And what city do you live in, which is the same city I assume your shop is in?
Yes. We'll say Arkham, Massachusetts.
Oh, Arkham. Perfect. I like that. Classic. Fantastic. All right. So Everett, it is it's early summer. It's the first Monday in June, 1926. What time are you going to work?
Well, I usually open up the shop about 9, so I show up at 8:30 to get inside and to make sure everything is in order before I open up the door. There's never people waiting in line. It's just I open up the shop. If there was somebody waiting in line, I would open up the shop earlier. But I open up the shop, and yeah, there's never anybody waiting. I tidy up a little bit when I get in, and then there's not much else to do. I have some organizing to do and some correspondence to write, and if I get interrupted by a customer, then I help them.
So tell me about, we've learned a little bit about your work, the shop. What's the name of your used bookstore?
Cole's Rare Books. Nice. Cole is my last name.
I like it. Very good. So we learned a little bit about your shop. Tell me about your home. Do you have a wife? Do you have children? Do you live alone? How old are you? And how do you get from home to work?
Well, I live in a small home on Federal Street. It's an old brownstone. It's not in an upper class neighborhood. It's a middle class neighborhood, and I own the whole building. I'm not married. I don't have any children. I'm pretty much a confirmed bachelor, and I occupy the top 2 floors. The bottom floor and the basement I rent out to boarders. They're good people, and a lot of times I just walk to work. It's a 15-minute walk into town where my shop is.
Okay, fantastic. So you live in Federal Hill, Federal Hill, the Federal Hill neighborhood, or on Federal Hill Street?
Federal Street, yeah.
Okay.
I'm not quite in the Federal Hill neighborhood.
Okay.
It's kind of in between areas.
Okay, fantastic. Great. So like I said, it is June 1926. This is the first Monday of June. And it is about 8:30 in the morning as you are leaving your house and you're walking uphill to go downtown to where Cole's Rare Books is located. This is a trip, a walk that you've made hundreds of times.
Hundreds of times, yes.
Very, very familiar with this, and it's very peaceful. It's very comforting. This particular walk that you make, it's a good time for you to kind of coalesce your thoughts and just warm up for the day as the sun is warming you up, literally, as you're walking to the shop. This is the time of day when vehicles are starting to come down the streets, tossing a bundle of papers near a corner where there's a newspaper stand, and that the newsie there is collecting those and getting them set up for the day. And as you are approaching the end of the block, where you typically will turn to start heading downtown, you see a house up ahead, standalone, much like the other homes on this block, which is your block. This is the opposite end of your block from where you live. Standalone. This is a single story. It's an older home, and it's just a single story, just a real small, kind of like a salt box kind of house, just really, really small. And as you approach the corner, you notice in this little house, which has a picket fence around it, waist high picket fence. You notice sitting in the yard are about 5 tabby cats, and they're just sitting in various spots of the yard. Very prim, very proper, feet all collected together, sitting up tall, and they're all 5 of them are looking at the house.
This is a house I pass every day.
Every day. You've passed it for years. And you realize, you do know that that's actually the home of Wilhelm Porter.
Wilhelm Porter?
Wilhelm Porter. Professor Porter. You know that he teaches at Miskatonic University.
And do I know that he has a lot of cats, or is this unusual to see?
You've never seen cats in his yard before.
Okay.
At least you've never noticed cats.
Yeah.
In
And
his yard before.
walking the same route every single morning, one becomes familiar with just about everything. If somebody changes the curtains in their house, you notice. And so I see the cats, and I'm like, well, that's rather unusual. So I'm walking past the picket fence, and I'm just looking over at the house, and I'm looking up at the house to see if anything is wrong or what the cats might be staring
at. You can give me a spot hidden.
Oh, what does the dice?
I know this is your first time playing a role-playing game. I understand.
Yeah, I got a 17.
Oh, fantastic.
Which is, that's just hard.
Yeah, you don't see anything that strikes you odd. At least there doesn't seem to be anything odd. The curtains, there's only really on the front end of this very, very small house, there's really only one window next to the front door, and those curtains are drawn closed. There are single story, and there's a couple of windows on the left and right sides of the
Sure.
house, one on either side, and then you assume there's windows and a back door behind, but you've never paid a social call to Professor Porter. You're just aware of him as you are in a relatively small town, one in which you've been a resident of for years. Give me a idea roll.
52. That is a regular pass.
So with that idea, you do remember a few details about Professor Porter. You know that he is, or as you recollect, he's in his early 70s. You suspect maybe around 73 or so. You're not 100% sure, but early 70s. And that you do know that he is a widower, that he had lost his wife. And if you recall correctly, her name was Ophelia, but she passed away. Well, now it's probably going on 6 or 7 years. Yeah, probably 7 years. Gosh, time has been flying. And as you recall, they only had one son, and you do remember there was a kind of a neighborhood celebration for celebrating their son James when he joined the Navy, and he went off to be a Navy man. So anyways, that's and then professor at Miskatonic University. You had your successful idea roll, so you think it was anthropology. You're pretty sure. Maybe archaeology, but probably you're almost positive it was anthropology.
One of those ologies. Yeah.
Yeah, it started with an A, ology. You're pretty sure it was anthropology. Anyways, that's what kind of comes to mind as you recollect on him as a person, and that house.
Do I know whether he's retired or not, or if he's still teaching?
Well, you don't know.
You
don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how's the rest of the yard? Is it upkept, or is it kind of neglected?
I mean, the lawn is probably getting a little bit long, but it's certainly not unruly. There are other neighbors who have worse lawns.
Well, since I notice it as I'm walking, it probably takes me a little bit to walk by the house. So as I'm walking and I notice, does the cat's attention ever waver towards me, or are they like staring at the house?
They seem to be sitting prim and proper, like I said, just staring at the house.
Okay. Well, as I walk by, I'll probably go, puss, 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 like that to see if I can catch their attention.
Mm-hmm.
What are you staring at, kitties?
Yeah, give me a natural world.
Oh, no, I got a 79.
Okay. Yeah, you don't seem to get any reaction at all from the cats. So your attempt to get their attention didn't do anything.
Well, I'll look, and then I'll look at my watch, and it's like, well, I have to get to work, so I'll just assume I'll shrug it off as something a little odd, but not that odd.
Yeah, not that odd.
And continue down the road towards work.
Okay. Yeah, so you continue on downtown. What is a typical day like for you at the bookstore?
No, I come inside. I tidy up if anything is out of place. I check my my schedule. I have a schedule to see if there's anybody that I need to call or correspond with. I collect the mail, uh, which is, let's just say it's delivered before I get to work. I take it inside and I check the books, make sure everything is in order. And then I probably spend most of the time either corresponding or answering phones if they ring, uh,
Hmm.
dusting. I dust everything off, make sure I dust every morning to make sure that everything is nice and clean. And see if anybody has maliciously uh, put a book back in the wrong spot
Oh, that's awful.
put it back. And then, I mean, if that's my morning, at lunch, I close shop. I put the little sign on the door that says, back in an hour. And I go to one of the local restaurants, maestros, or or one of the other ones. And um, and if I see anybody, I might chit chat with some of the other vendors that are on my street or around, or if I see them, I'm probably on speaking terms with everybody. So
Yeah.
it's a small town.
Give me a luck roll, please.
94. Yeah, no.
So it was a pretty slow day. So you only made $15.
All days are slow days, pretty much. Okay. Well,
What time do you close and head home?
I'll probably close at 5. Uh, and I think today I'll probably stay until 5. Some days, if it's really slow, I'll just go home a little early. So 5 o'clock, I lock up. I deposit. I've got a safe in the back that I put all the money in and lock it up. And if there was any uh, important correspondence, I might bring it home with me and answer it at home. But there doesn't seem to be anything, so I lock it up, and then I just walk back home.
Okay. All right.
And I'm curious, just because as I'm walking and I see that house again, as I walk by, I'll just look into the yard and see if the cats are still there.
Yeah, in fact, now there's 11 cats sitting in the front yard. All of them in just little different areas of the yard, um, sitting sitting tall. They've got all their feet together, their backs are nice and tall, their heads and chins are lifted up, and they're all looking at the house.
Is the mail?
um
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, why don't you give me an idea roll?
That is a 70 out of 80. So yeah.
70 it was good.
70 out of 80 is good. Yes.
Okay. It strikes you a little odd that like this morning and now, not a single one of them is making a noise.
Hmm. Is the mailbox a slot on the door, or is it a mailbox on the edge of the property?
It's a box mounted on the picket fence right by the little gate to walk up to his door.
I'm going to go up to the mailbox and open it and see if there's a bunch of mail in it, to see if
Okay.
perhaps something's wrong.
Yeah. Inside you find 2 letters.
Just 2 letters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you look at them?
Um,
Just the covers.
I'll just look at the covers. Yeah.
The envelopes. You can see one letter is and it's got a lot of stamping on that, like cha-chunk kind of
Sure.
stamping, right? And it's from a Colonel James Porter. And it looks like it has been
His
sent
son.
from the USS Maryland BB-46, and it's addressed to Wilhelm Porter. The second letter is it's in an official Miskatonic University envelope, and it says Department of Anthropology as the return address, and it's addressed to Professor W.M. Porter.
Right. The postmark. Are the postmarks on them from yesterday or today, or are they from a long time ago? I'm worried if he's injured or dead, then the mails might start to accumulate. When was the last time he picked up his mail is what I'm trying to figure out.
Yes, good question. The letter from Miskatonic University was postmarked 10 days ago. And the one from Colonel Porter was postmarked 8 days ago.
Okay, that concerns me then. I will enter the yard. Is there like a little gate?
Yep, small little gate with a latch.
I will unlatch the gate and step inside, closing it behind me. And I will walk up the path. Are the cats on the path? Or are they scattered all around the place?
They're not on the path. They're in the grass on either side. So you have a clear path to it.
Kitties. As I walk by. I step up onto the porch and I go to the door and I knock.
Okay. You knock on the door and you wait a couple of moments and there's no response.
No response. I move over to the window and see if I can see any lights on inside.
Okay. Give me a spot hidden with a penalty die.
23 and 08. So that is a pass.
Okay.
23 is actually a hard.
So you are peering through the front window, right? You're still at the front of that. You're peering through the front window. Curtains are drawn, so you have to kind of, look at it. Well, but they have some substance to them. So you're looking at an angle, so you won't be able to see super deep into the room, but you're looking at an angle where you can kind of see past that curtaining. And you see what you can see, which is you do see a chair or part of a chair. You can see the arm of the chair and the back of it. It's a tufted and cushioned chair. But you can see that there's some things, like it looks like maybe newspapers or books kind of stacked up on the chair, and and there's like a small pile of things sitting in that chair. And then you also notice at this strange angle the floor, and lighting is really kind of iffy in here, so it's hard to tell, but it looks like there might be vapor or mist on the floor in the living room.
Something was left cooking and it's burning. No sign of anybody, huh?
No sign of anybody.
All right. Well, now I'm more concerned. I will move around to the back door, if there is a back door.
Sure. Yeah. So you go around the side of the house. The windows that are on the sides of the building are not like the picture window that's on the front of the building. They're much smaller, and they're also kind of higher up off the ground.
Right.
So You don't have the ability to like walk past either on the left side of the house or the right side of the house. And with feet on the ground, you can't see through that window. You would have to have something
Sure.
to elevate to do that. But I'm just making a note of that. So you walk past and you go to the back side of the house, and in the backyard, and the backyard is also fairly small. There is a single width driveway, which really driveway, it's just two ruts,
Right. Sure.
and there's like a shack that might be able to be used as a garage, but for most families in this area, it's extra storage and cars just
Sure.
sitting front. There is no car here though, so there's no car, but the two ruts go up to the shack. And in the backyard area, there are there's 12 cats in the backyard, sitting and looking at the house. So there's a single door, and there's also a window. This window isn't quite as large as the one that's in the front, but it's also not as small or as high up as the ones on the side. So you have the ability to peer through the one that's on the back.
Is there a back porch, or is there just a couple of steps up to the door?
Not even steps. So like in the front of the house, in the
Mhm.
back of the house, the porch is a 2 foot by 3 foot concrete slab
Okay.
that's only inches off of the
Right.
grass. So there's no porch per se.
Okay. Um, well, I'll go up to the window and I'll peer inside, and I'll call out uh, Professor Porter.
Okay. Give me another spot hidden, if you will, for this other window. Because of the curtaining on it, it is also with a penalty die.
Okay. Well, then I failed.
Okay. Yeah, the curtains on this one are more substantial, and they cover more to the corners. So yeah, and it's also a little bit darker from this side of the house, so you can't see anything in there. But there's no response to your hail.
Okay. I will try the door.
Okay. So you go to start moving the door handle, and the door handle is locked, so it just kind of rattles in your hand.
Mhm.
But as you do that, you suddenly feel thumping on your legs as the dozen cats that are in the backyard, they have now swarmed up to the house, and they're throwing their bodies. First they kind of leap up, so their feet hit the door, and then they repel themselves off of the door and slam into your shins and knees, as they continually doing this like ricochet batter. And some of them are coming up just beside you and doing that like rabbit punch thing that cats can do, where it's 1,000 punches in a second,
Right.
and they're just like right on your calves.
Well, I'll step back. Do I get the impression that they want in, or are they trying to keep? Well, that doesn't make any sense. That cat's not going to keep me away from something, but maybe they want inside. Maybe they haven't been fed. One last thing. I'll walk back around to the front door and see if it's unlocked.
Okay, so you step away from the back door
Yeah.
to go to the front door. As you step away from the back door, the swarm of the cats and give me an idea roll.
90.
Give me an idea roll. Okay,
Another one?
so the swarm of the cats, huh?
Yeah. Well, I said 90, and you said give me an idea roll. You just wanted one idea roll, right?
Just the one.
90.
So yeah, so you step back from the door, and then the cats disperse. They go back into the yard. They pick a spot that they like in the grass, and they return to their prim and proper seating, head up, chin up, eyes locked on the house. And you go back around to the front.
Right.
And you said you're going to try the doorknob there?
Yeah, I'll try the front door.
Okay. That door is also locked, but just the same as the back. As you start testing that door, the 11 cats that were in the front, they start rebounding off the door and banging up against your. They're not, if they have claws, they're not clawing you. They're just physically bounding themselves off the door into your legs, and some of them are rabbit punching your calves.
All right, I'll back away again. Now it's very strange.
So
What?
as you back away, the cats disperse silently and sit back in the yard again and start watching the house.
Well, um, I think the only thing I can think of at the moment is I need to go back to my home and telephone the police and tell them that there is something that I'm afraid that he might be inside, perhaps dead, and they smell. I don't know. I'm baffled. Um, but something is definitely wrong.
Okay. So you head to your home
Mhm.
and you telephone the cops.
So,
You get a hold of a sergeant, and he says, "Yes, sir. How can I help you?"
hello, Sergeant. I am calling because I am a concerned neighbor. One of my neighbors, Professor Wilhelm Porter, his house is right down at the end of the street. I pass it every single day as I go to work. I don't think he's picked up his mail, and it appears that he has a number of cats that maybe need to be fed. He's an older gentleman. I wouldn't want him. He may have had an accident or passed away. I I'm very concerned. Could perhaps uh, we might have to. The doors are locked, so I can't get in to check. Uh, but I'm very concerned.
Oh, well, yes, we'll send a car out to check it out.
All right,
Thank you for your concern.
and I give him the address.
Okay.
Hmm, poor old man.
What do you want to do for the evening?
Um, you know what I will do is I will make a quick telephone call to the university, Miskatonic, and ask if Professor Wilhelm Porter has been to work lately, if he still teaches there, if he hasn't shown up.
So you call and you get a nighttime operator, university operator,
Mhm.
and so she says uh, all the departments are closed. I can take a message and have someone call you back.
Oh, it's not necessary. I'll call tomorrow. Um,
Okay.
uh, Thank you. And out of curiosity, I don't have anything to do. It's a warm summer evening. I will walk back down towards the house, wait for the police to show up.
Okay. So it took a little while for you to make that call and get connected and that. So when you are leaving your house and you're walking back up the block towards Wilhelm's house, the police are already there,
Okay.
and you can see them in the front yard. You can see one of them at the front door knocking. One of them is in the front yard, also kind of looking and chuckling at the cats that are all over the place.
I'm going to have thought about maybe the cats need some food.
Okay.
So hmm, I'll bring a bottle of milk and a couple of saucers.
Okay.
Um, and as I get there and I wave at the police as I'm coming up,
Okay.
I'm the one who called.
All right.
I'll
So yeah, and as you're approaching to the house, so you're approaching the picket fence and stuff, the two police officers are walking towards the fence as well, away from the house, towards their car that is
Mhm.
parked on the curb right in front of the house.
All right. Uh,
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm the concerned neighbor. I called. Uh, he's not answering. Were you able to gain access to the house?
No, sir. But yes, he's not answering. But yeah, we'll take this down, and unfortunately, there's nothing that we can do at this time. He needs to. There needs to be a record of him. Um, uh, being unresponsive for a certain amount of time before we can do anything. But we'll start the paperwork and get that logged, and keep you informed if we hear anything different.
Well, I'm more concerned that he could be lying on the floor inside the house.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. There's nothing that we can do at this time, but we appreciate your information and your concern. He could just be out of town. What do you know about Mr. Porter?
I don't know. He's a professor at Miskatonic. I tried calling over there, but the administration offices were closed. So
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I can call again in the morning. They would know if he was out of town. Of course, I mean nothing malicious. Had I gained access to the house, I would simply have seen if he was there and then left.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Well, we appreciate your concern. There's no need for you to break into his home.
well,
It's
let me feed the cats. I
Oh,
brought them some milk.
sure.
They seem to be wanting food, I think.
Oh, yeah. He seems to have quite a few cats, but
Yes, I've never
that's
seen these cats here before, though. It's very strange.
yeah. Well, yeah.
That that's kind of why I thought perhaps there was a smell that they could smell.
Yeah, and the cops are like, yeah, no, I don't pick up anything. Everything seems fine.
Cats can be much more sensitive. All right, thank you very much, officer. I'll keep you informed too if something happens.
You please do that. And
Th-
they tip their hats
thank you for coming.
and they, write a few things down. They get your name and everything, and they start an incident report, and they're gonna drive back to the precinct and file it.
Cops
What
completely
time of
useless.
what time of what time in the evening is it?
Say about 7 o'clock.
Okay.
And once I will put down. I brought some saucers and I pour the milk into it. Do the cats react?
They do not. So a few of them turn their heads and see the milk, and then they return to their vigilance of watching the
Vigilance?
house. By the way, in the time that you've been gone and came back, there's now 16 cats in the front yard.
And I try putting one of the saucers in front of one of the cats and pour some milk into it. Anything?
Yeah, the cat just kind of moves its feet a little bit, like it's getting real comfortable, and then cranes its neck, and then returns to its vigilance of watching the house.
Never seen anything like this in my life. Cat not wanting cream. Um, something very strange is going on here. I'm going to I'm at this point going to pick up my saucers and I'm going to walk back home and wonder if I've ever read anything about cats behaving in this manner, and I've read a lot of very strange books.
All right. Tell you what. Well, what do you mean by very strange? Do you have Cthulhu Mythos?
Probably not.
Okay.
Um,
So you can give me a history roll if you'd like.
okay, 55. 55 out of 60, so that is a regular pass.
You recall maybe something about Egyptian lore of guardian cats, but that information is more of a categorized more as a fairy tale, and there isn't a
Mythology.
mythology. That just isn't a lot of information on it as far as what would be the behavioral habits of a guardian cat.
Oh,
So yeah.
I will consider these things, and I will check in the morning. Uh, but it troubles me. I hope he's not injured or God forbid dead. But he is an old man, so it wouldn't be that unusual. I'll check in the morning with the university.
Okay. All right. It is the it's morning now. It's the first Tuesday.
All right. I have my breakfast, um, do up the dishes, um, clean myself up, and then at 8:30 I leave and I walk, wondering if I'm going to see another dozen cats. I'm
Um,
going to look around too to see if I see any of the usual neighbor cats that are here and there throughout the town.
um, the normal cats that you're kind of familiar with, maybe Mrs. Howard's two cats.
Her
Um,
tabby, yeah.
they're in Porter's yard. In fact, there's now 24 cats in the front yard that you can see. 24 cats sitting quietly, prim and proper, chin up, looking at the house.
Well, this is extremely strange. Um, I'll walk by and I'll go to work. Um, once I'm there and once I've tidied up, might skip dusting. I'm going to make some phone calls. Um, Perhaps I have a friend, or I know people that I just chit chat with. Maybe somebody who's got some occult. I actually have quite a bit of occult, but
Okay. Well, and you have a pretty well stocked private library. So,
um, and there's their whole department at Miskatonic that
sure.
deals with the occult. Um, it's such an unusual event. It must be. I have no explanation for it. So first, I'll call the university and see if um, Professor Wilhelm has any scheduled classes or if he continues to work there.
Okay. So you call the university, and the operator redirects you to the Department of Anthropology,
Mhm.
and a voice, a young woman's voice, answers and says, "Department of Anthropology, Dr. Haig's office. How can I help you?"
Hello, this is the hell's my name?
Everett Cole.
Everett Cole. Hi, good morning. This is Everett Cole. Uh, I was wondering if Professor Wilhelm Porter still works at the university in your department.
Oh, um, hold on just for a second. And the line is put on like a hold, and you can hear a beep as the line reconnects, and then a gentleman with a deeper voice answers, says, "Dr. Haig."
Hello, Dr. Haig. I don't believe we've ever met. My name is Everett Cole. Um, I am a neighbor of Professor Wilhelm Porter. Does he still work at the university?
I'm sorry. Why are you calling?
I'm calling because I'm afraid uh, his. I haven't seen him for a while. His home. I want to make sure that he is not in his home injured or ill.
Hmm.
Nobody. He hasn't picked up his mail in weeks.
Oh well, that okay. Yeah, I guess that would explain it. Well, uh, I regret to inform you that that Professor Porter is no longer employed at the university.
Oh,
He retired, and I do have two boxes of personal belongings of his that I was hoping he would come and pick up, but he hasn't been responding. I assume that he may be traveling. Are you sure he's at home?
we
He
don't know. I actually called the police, and they didn't want to break into his house. Um,
Yes. Well,
there's a
uh,
there's a great many cats in the yard. It's very strange.
no, it is odd. I don't know anything about cats. I Professor Porter. Yes, I've been trying to reach him. I have these belongings of his, uh, but uh, but if he doesn't respond, I have no choice but to donate them. Um,
Well, what sort of things does he have?
oh, it's just a couple of boxes of personal possessions, things of his, but really, I'm getting ready to have them taken out.
Any books?
Well, yes, there are some books. Yes.
I'm actually a book collector, and I'm his neighbor. Would you mind if I came and collected them? I'll make sure that they get into his hands if he's.
Honestly, I really don't care. If you can take these, and if you want to store them, and then when he comes home, do the neighborly thing and give it to him, that's fine by me.
What building are you in? What if I come over to the university on lunch break? Can I?
Oh yeah, we're in the anthropology department. It's the H West building. It's fine. Yeah, you'll find it.
And it's they're in your office.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. I will see you at noon.
Thank you, Mr. Cole. I'll see you then. Okay.
Bye. Well, I don't want them to throw his things out. I will definitely collect them and give them to Mr. Uh, Professor Porter. Do we still call him professor if he's no longer employed as a professor? I would call him professor. That's polite. Um,
It's polite. It's certainly a title he has earned.
yes. Hmm. Perhaps there's some clues as to what he's been researching lately. We shall see. And so I continue with what I normally do in the morning at the office, and I'm very eager. So I think maybe at 11:30 I will close up shop, and it's probably 3 or 4 blocks. I don't have my map out, but I will walk over to the university.
Okay. Yeah, so it takes 15-20 minutes to get to the university, and you thread your way through the campus until you find the archaeology department. And it's a much like many of the buildings on campus, it's a marble building. And so you go up to the third floor, and there is a office for a Dr. Haig. You go inside, and there's like a reception area. There is a young
Secretary?
woman. There's a young
Hmm.
woman there, and as you come in, she stands and questions and says, "Mr. Cole."
Yes, good afternoon. I spoke with you on the phone first.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. And she seems to be a bright young woman. And she says, right this way, Dr. Haig is expecting you. And
Excellent.
she crosses the room and opens up an adjoining door. And inside, you see an older man with salt and pepper hair. And he stands up and starts crossing the room, hand extended to greet you.
Uh, Good afternoon. I hope I'm not interrupting your lunch at all.
Oh, no, not at all. Don't be silly. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. You know, it's uh, it's just a shame, but I really do appreciate you taking this off my hands.
All right. Is there, would you mind if I asked a few questions, though? Um, i- was the professor often going on voyages or leaving, or have you known him to be pretty much sentient and staying here?
I mean, he is a or was a professor of anthropology, and so he's has spent probably half his life either in the field and the other half in a classroom.
Hmm.
So I don't put it past Wilhelm to have picked up and taken off. Wilhelm was he was always a bit of an odd duck. You know, he was always full of facts, but kind of empty on personality.
Hmm.
His late wife Ophelia, she more than made up for William's lack of interpersonal skills, if you know what I mean. But when she passed away, I think the best part of Wilhelm went with her.
Well, that's a shame.
But yeah,
Well,
poor Wilhelm was always the professor that the students never really wanted to have that class. So I think his gruff personality just it made it untenable. So
made more for archaeology than for teaching or
yes,
anthropology.
yes, quite so, quite so.
Well, let's see what we've got here. Are there how many boxes?
Two boxes. Do you need any help?
Well, that would be quite nice. I'm actually going to have to get a taxi then. I simply walked from
Oh,
home.
well, no problem. Hold on just for a second. And then he introduced himself as Alvin, Dr. Alvin
Uh,
Haig. And so Alvin walks to the door and says, Karen, if you would get a couple of grad students up here, somebody with a car, if you would, please.
oh, that's
Right
very
away,
kind.
right away, doctor. And in just a few minutes, two strapping young men show up, and they're able to heft each box, one with each box, and take it down. They have a car, and they say, "Where to, sir?"
Well, thank you very much. You're very kind. Um, let's go to my shop. We'll take this up there.
Fantastic. And so they drive you back to your shop
It's only a
and bring the
500.
boxes in and place them on the counter, and they bid adieu.
Well, and I give them each a quarter.
Oh, well, please, we can't. It was our pleasure.
Oh well, of course you can. You can't. You're college boys. You need some extra money.
And they smile and then quietly accept the money, pocket it, and then say goodbye.
Thank you. Oh,
Excellent. So yeah, you start going through these boxes.
yes.
Okay, so
I
you
move them to the back, so I
okay,
can I can do it back there.
sure. All right, yeah, you take them to the back where you've got a little privacy and whatnot. Okay, so you kind of start unpacking these things, really. Um, so in one box, you find some wrapped in newspaper, some clay pottery. You also find kind of bundled up in newspaper a couple of small bronze Buddha statues. Uh, you find a folded up uh, piece of silk, very colorful silk. It looks like a almost like a long scarf, but it seems like it's some sort of regional piece. You find a small box inside has some jewelry. um, a few plain rings, a couple of studded earrings, and there's one necklace that has it has a charm on it that looks like a drop of water.
Okay. Well,
Um,
made out of stone, a blue stone, or that looks like a drop of water.
it is. It's actually it's silver.
Silver. Okay.
And then and then laying on top of that box that you unpacked is actually a bronze sword.
Bronze sword.
Do you have archaeology?
Let's see. I do not.
Okay.
The archaeology. I do have appraise.
You can give me an appraise.
I got a 10 out of 55, so that is an extreme.
So you kind of appraise the lot, and it looks like the necklace with the teardrop shaped charm, it looks quite precious, and the sword looks extremely valuable. The sword does have some etchings and illustrations on the pommel, as well as some decorations on the hilt that includes a character, but it's not of a character that you recognize. You can give me a history roll.
You have quite a few languages. History, I got 17 out of 60, so that is a hard.
You are very confident that as a collection, these artifacts are Tibetan in origin.
Very interesting.
And then in the other box, you find several copies. Dr. Haig had mentioned books. Well, the second box has books, but they're all the same book, just multiple copies of it. And it is a book titled Tibet, The Culture and Religion, written by Dr. Wilhelm Porter.
Okay, so they're copies of his own book.
Copies of his own book.
Probably for his classes. Is there anything else in the second box? Just the books?
Just the books. Just multiple copies of the book.
Okay. Well, I sort of half imagined that the jewelry probably might be his wife's jewelry. So I'm just going to carefully put everything back. And I might take one of the books just to peruse through it this evening. Or I can begin right now because I still have half a day at work and very little to do.
Okay.
So I will put these things on the floor behind the counter. I know where they are. And I will sit behind the counter and I will look through the book, Tibet.
Okay. Give me a read English roll.
Read English?
English. It's written in English.
Oh, okay.
It's a classroom book, right? It's a school book.
I got a 32 out of 30 out of 70, so that's a hard.
Okay.
I hope that I can read.
I would assume so.
Considering I'm a book dealer.
So skimming through the book, you find that this book covers quite a few topics, Tibetan culture, topics, centering around Tibetan culture and the Tibetan religion. And something that kind of catches your attention in this initial skim is he even has Professor Porter has a section on the Tibetan Buddhism practice of lucid dreaming.
Hmm.
And there seems to be something about Tibetan dream warriors, but it seems like it would be interesting, and that that all seems to be centered around something called dream yoga. But it seems like you might need to do additional research on that, a deeper read.
So the idea that one can move into the dreams, and it's an old idea. It's almost as prevalent as summoning angels and doing other things like that. It's all occult.
Give me a luck roll, please.
33. What's my luck? Yeah, that passes.
Okay. You earn $20.
$35 in 2 days. Yay! I don't have to sell my house.
You don't have very many sales, but when you do, they typically are worth the wait.
Oh yeah, and sometimes there's not even anybody there. It's something that somebody's ordered and I've found. I received payment for it. So at the end of the day, I will follow my usual procedure of locking up and depositing the money in my safe. And I will bring this book home. Is this a large book, a fat book, or?
Yeah, it's a textbook. So you might compare it to our Call of Cthulhu Keeper rule book,
Okay.
right? So same kind of scale, size, and thickness. It's a university textbook.
Okay. I will bring one of these home with me.
Okay.
So tucked under my arm.
Sure.
As I'm walking, and as I
are all the artifacts, other artifacts, staying at the office?
They're staying at the office.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to carry boxes of stuff with me. They're perfectly safe there. So as I'm walking by Professor Porter's house, is it exactly what I expect? More cats?
More cats. You do a quick head count. There are now 31 cats just in the front yard.
Wow.
And again, sitting silently, prim, proper, feet together, back up, chin up, looking at the house.
Well, all right. So I walk by. Very, very, very strange. They can't have eaten, so they must be very hungry now. I'm going to go back to my house, and is there perhaps somebody that I know who is like into the occult to the point where I can consult with them, I can talk to them about these very strange goings on?
Yeah, you have a friend like that. Give me a luck roll.
Yeah, of course it's a pass.
Okay.
I keep thinking I have to check to see if it's a hard or an extreme, but you don't do that on luck.
So yeah, so it was a pass.
Yeah.
Okay. You do have a friend in Boston.
Sam Waterford. Sam, how are you?
Everett, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Sam, uh, we do the niceties, and then I'm like,
Sure. Yeah,
Sam,
yep.
I have a really weird thing going on in my neighborhood that I can't explain in any manner other than something supernatural going on.
Weird. Okay.
There's a professor of anthropology uh, who lives down the street from me, and no one's seen him for a few days. He's missing. Um, his house is completely surrounded by cats. I counted 31 of them this morning, and with each hour, more cats show up. They won't eat. Uh, they they sit in a circle around his house, staring at his house. If I go up onto the porch and I try to open the door, they attack me. Uh, they
What?
they 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 bounce off the house and against me like they're trying to push me away from the house. They bat at me with their little paws. They don't try to hurt me, but they don't want me to go inside. The doors are locked. It's so bizarre.
Oh, this is very weird. I've never heard of anything like this.
I'm quite concerned that the professor might be in there injured or dead. I don't know if cats are attracted by the smell of dead people or, but it's so strange. I've tried feeding the cats, they won't eat.
Wow. Okay.
The professor was, I believe, teaching classes on Tibet, and he has a number of Tibetan artifacts here, a sword and some jewelry and some rings and things like that. Some pottery, some little statues of Buddha, I believe.
Wow. Okay. Listen, let me take care of a couple of things here, and I'll drive up tonight if you'll have me, and we can go check that out.
Well, that's an hour and a half drive. Are you sure? You could certainly stay here,
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, let me get some things put away here. I'll probably be there in about two, maybe 2.5 hours.
right? Um, Thank you, Sam. Yes, I'll. Uh, it should be about uh, dinner time. We'll say. Well, it's almost dinner time. So
Yeah.
I'll make sure I have something to feed you when you get here. If you drive out.
Oh, I'll eat ahead of time.
All right, all right. Well, I'll make up the guest room for you.
Fantastic.
All right,
So it'll probably be after 9 by the time he gets there.
sure.
What do you want to do while you're waiting for Sam?
Well, I will sit here and I will continue to read through the book, maybe a
Okay.
little more in depth. I'll read about this. The only thing in here that seems to be of a cult in nature or anything similar would be this whole dreaming thing. Um, and of course, there's a religion and everything else, but it's complicated. And I know a little bit about Buddhism and stuff like that, but in this case, it's Tibetan Buddhism. Um, I'll stick with the dream stuff. I'll read on that.
Go ahead and give me another read English, but because now you have a focus on what you're going after, give this read English roll with a bonus die.
Okay, well then I got an 09, which is art, extreme.
Okay. So what you discover, because there are also some illustrations in the book, and so you see an illustration about this figure, this character called Salgye Dudalma, Salgye, Salge du, and then Dalma, Dalma, Salge du Dalma. You find a little bit of information about this Salge du Dalma, and that she is a guardian of sleep. And her tears, which is known as, and there's an icon for her tears known as a tingle, which so it looks like a teardrop. And her tears can be used to restore a troubled sleeper. You learn more about the Tibetan dream warriors are basically like this elite guardians that serve Salge Dudama, and these dream warriors, they would enter dreams with their blessed swords to defend dreamers from nightmares. And so to enter into lucid sleep, the Tibetan dreamer would perform a sleep ritual that involved a singing bowl, as they performed dream yoga. So through the use of dream yoga and the singing bowl, you can enter a lucid dream state.
There wasn't a singing bowl in the box.
There was not a singing bowl in the box.
If I have the time, I think what I will do is I will catch a cab to work.
So the time it took you to read this was the time it took for Sam to travel. And so as you finally like gather all this information, there's a knock at your door.
Okay. And I open the door. Sam, please. Hello.
Everett,
Welcome.
Great to see you again.
Come inside.
So what's going on?
Well, have a seat. Can I get you something to drink? Some water?
Sure. Coffee. Great.
Coffee. All right. Well, it's quite fascinating. Here's the textbook that the professor, I've got one of these. And I explained to him about going to the university and getting the box of stuff. I was thinking that we can walk down the street to the house so that you can see what I'm talking about. And then we can go on from there to my shop and get these items. They now seem to be correlating to something in this book. There was a necklace that has a tear-shaped pendant on it, which it talks about in the book. See right here in the book. And there was a sword, which is also described here. These are some sort of dream warrior items.
Fascinating.
I'm just wondering if perhaps he is, I don't know whether we should break into the house or not.
Well, Everett, old boy, I will support whatever avenue you wish to take.
Well, let's have a look at everything first.
Let's do that.
I mean, we can. We're not, as I told the police earlier, we're not being malicious in any way. We're just concerned for the old man.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
He'll pay for a broken lock. All right, so let's take a walk outside.
All right,
and it's you said about 9 o'clock.
Yeah, now it's probably closer to 9:30 as you're kind of getting him up to speed and finished your coffee and whatnot. And it's getting a little cool. You know, the heat of the day is evaporating. So you walk up the block, and it's pretty dark over in that area. And so as you approach, you can see even more cats, and again, deadly silent. And now, after a quick head count, there are 40 cats just in the front yard. 40 cats sitting there silently looking at the front door.
Look at this.
My God, I've never seen anything like this.
And they don't seem to interact either unless you walk up to the door.
That's
Here,
bizarre.
I'll show you.
Okay, so Sam will stay back as you approach the door.
Yes, I'll approach the door, and I show him it's my hands, and it's when I reach for the doorknob
And start turning
so,
it.
that I'm suddenly mobbed. Yeah.
The cats, 40 cats swarm, and now it is. Give me a dex roll.
59, 59 out of 60. So I just barely keep from getting thrown off.
You actually have to put one leg back to act as a brace to prevent yourself from being pushed back. Just even though these cats are all really small and each one of them is maybe 4 to 5 pounds, there's 40 of them continually rushing their way through silently, rebounding their bodies off the door frame and the door to bounce, to physically kind of tackle into you. And they're buffeting into your legs, and Sam is back behind you going, good heavens,
did you see?
That's remarkable.
I'm actually not sure how we could get in.
And so then as you step back, the cats retreat and go back into their positions. I've never seen anything like it. In fact, at this point, it is so bizarre. I'd like you to make a sand roll.
74 is not a pass.
Lose 1.
All right.
You're a little shaken at how coordinated 40 silent cats are.
Oh, geez. I just realized I was writing on Zeno. I want to write on Zeno. All right. I'm like, isn't that the strangest thing you've ever seen?
I'm glad you called me. I've never seen anything like it. This is highly unusual.
How can it not be supernatural? What would cause cats to forego their own instinctual behaviors?
This is remarkable. And Sam has like a small notepad, and he's with a pencil scratching down some notes.
Well, let's go on to my shop and I'll show you the artifacts that we've got.
Okay.
I know they're valuable. I just don't know. They perhaps, they are Tibetan. So it's very interesting. All right, so we'll walk on.
Okay. So yeah, you make it to your shop and go inside, and there in the back is the bronze sword, the necklace with the tingle, the teardrop shape on it, and the other different artifacts.
There you see all of these things. Is there anything written on the teardrop shaped pendant?
No.
Nothing. It's just smooth and tear
smooth silver teardrop on the necklace.
What do you make of these things?
Beautiful craftsmanship. I've never seen anything quite like it before. Incredibly rare. It must be worth it would be worth a fair bit on auction. I can tell you that for sure.
I am going to pull the sword out of the sheath.
Okay.
To take a look at it.
It glows blue because there are orcs nearby. No.
Ah! I think I'll call it Sting.
No, it's a bronze sword. A little patinaed due to its age, but it's in remarkably great shape.
You think? Do you think Bronze Age, or do you think it's modern, made of bronze? Well, at least more modern than Bronze Age.
It certainly looks old to me.
Well, let's take these things back now that I've got you here. We don't need to bring all the books, but we can bring these things back to my house. Perhaps the book will give us more insight into what they exactly are or how they
Well,
work. If they,
why don't we just carry the tingle and the sword? If you wanted to bring everything, you should have told me. I would have driven us here.
oh, I like the nighttime walking. It's very nice. What about the silk here? Do you think this is important? Don't they? I don't know,
Hard to tell.
cover
It looks like a headdress of some sort.
well, and then there's these let's say we look at the clay pottery and the little Buddhas. Do they seem important or just trinkets?
They seem decorative.
Okay. All right, well, let's bring the necklace and the sword. Those seem to be the most important things.
Okay. I can, carry the necklace in my pocket if you'd like, or
carry the sword.
all right.
And then as we walk past the house once again, more cats.
There are more cats. Yeah. So you do another head count. There's 47 cats in the front yard.
7 cats, and they're going to run out of room soon.
It's now easily 10:15.
Mm-hmm. So what do you make of it? Can you think of anything that any kind of witch's curse or angel's blessing that would
I'm as taken aback as you. I have no idea. But what's the play here? What are we going to do?
I don't know. Let's look quickly in the book and see if there's anything on cats.
Okay, let's do that. You can give me, so you're heading to your house, right?
Correct.
You can give me a spot hidden as you're walking away.
Okay. Spot hidden. I got 64 out of 50. No, I'm not going to spend the money.
Spend the money.
I'm going to
spend the luck. All right. So you guys head back to the house, and so you've got Professor Porter's book. Give me a read English roll.
41. That is just regular.
Okay. You feel like you've done a really thorough skim through the book using the index, checking the different going more thoroughly through the dream, the lucid dreaming stuff. And you find no mention about cats in any manner whatsoever.
All right, so nothing in here. Can you think of any association between cats and dreaming or dreams or the occult dreams? I think we need to break into that house, but I don't know how we're going to do it with all those cats.
I can't think of anything.
I don't think we can climb through the windows. I wonder if was there a basement door in the back?
No, you didn't see a basement. It looked like the house was sitting on a slab.
Okay.
And Sam glances at the bronze sword and he says, he goes, "Give me a lever large enough."
Oh, but we wouldn't want to damage the sword in any way.
Well, do you have a better idea?
I think I have a crowbar.
Give me a luck roll.
14.
You do have a crowbar.
I do have a crowbar. So how do we do this? We need to distract the cats at the same time that we break open the door. It's 10:30. It'll be 11 o'clock by the time we get there. Let's do it. At the very worst, we're trying to find out if the old man is hurt.
All right. So what time is it as you're leaving the house?
Probably about 10:45.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you leave the house. It's 10:45. Give me a spot hidden.
96. So I don't spot anything.
All right. So you approach the house and it's really dark. So you have a hard time getting an accurate head count, but you feel like there's easily north of 50 cats in the front yard.
Okay. Let's go around to the back.
Okay. And again, north of 50 cats in the backyard. Right. So, I mean, they're all over this place. So who has what? What do you guys have with you? You've
I
got the
just have a
crowbar.
crowbar, right?
Only the crowbar.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So you Sam is like, all right, I could kick him.
Just see if you can block them. They'll probably hit you, but it's just going to take a moment to. They seem to do it when I fiddled with the handle. So maybe if I just don't touch the handle and I jam they won't even understand what it is that I'm doing.
Yeah.
If they understand anything at all.
You're gonna try and use the crowbar to jimmy the lock.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna put it between the door frame and the door.
So yeah, Sam squats down and is facing away from the house, and he's got his arms out like he's being a hockey goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
And so you go up to the door with your crowbar and try and
very quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Well, so with speed, then instead of being careful, give me a strength roll with a penalty die. But as you jam that bar in to start doing it, Sam gets plowed by these cats. He gets knocked on his ass as they're just running on top of him. Okay. And they're doing the same thing, bouncing off the door and repelling away. How'd your strength roll go?
I failed in both rolls. So.
Okay. Yeah, so you're trying to get it in there, but you're not going carefully enough. You're trying to go fast, and so you're just not getting purchase. You can't get it jammed in there.
Okay. And now I'm probably hit by a bunch of cats.
And you are also being buffeted by cats. Yes.
Kitties, we just went inside to make sure he's okay. They continue. I'm going to try to shoulder the door.
All right. This sounds like a pushed.
Strong.
This sounds like a pushed roll to me.
I'm going to try to push the roll.
All right. So give me a strength roll. There'll be no luck spend on this.
Oh, 8.
No way.
Yep.
All right. You go to shoulder the door. The cats are buffeting, but you give it the old college try. You find some source of strength within you that you haven't had in a while, and bam, that you pop the lock and the door swings open, and as soon as the door swings open, the cats retreat. They back up. And Sam is standing up, brushing himself off. You can see little kitty prints all over him. He's like, good gravy.
I'll go inside quickly. And,
okay.
As he steps inside, I close the door. And of course, now there's no way to keep it closed. So
Right. Yeah. You push the door and then it goes closed, but then it just it swings only about 2 inches and then it stays there. It stays there at the 2-inch mark.
All right. Well, I don't want the cats to come inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it and I'm going to take the crowbar and just sort of lean it on the door so that it keeps the door closed.
There's a kitchen counter. So you come in through the back door, you're in the kitchen.
Okay.
There's a kitchen counter right there by the door. So you can lay it on the counter and have the hooked in pushed up against the door. So there's enough of a strength on that it'll hold it just fine.
Any smell?
No, there's no smell.
Okay, so no dead body, thank God.
There is you can notice. So, do you turn on any lights?
Yeah, I'll turn the lights on.
Okay. Electricity is working, so you turn on the lights, but you know, it's not like he's got halogen bulbs, right? So
Sure.
it's a super dull yellow, but you can see a kitchen. There's a few if there is a smell, there's a smell from the sink, as there seems to be some like really old crumbs of food, in plates in the sink.
Just wanted to
um,
make sure there's no dead body smell.
no dead body smell, but there is like 2 inches of white wispy fog curling around on the floor.
On the floor. It's very strange.
From the kitchen, there's an open, so no door, there's just an opening that leads towards the front of the house.
All right. Let me check. Um, Professor Porter, Professor Porter, are you here? And I'm going to start moving around the house.
Okay, there's no answer to your call. As you step out of the kitchen, the opening goes immediately into a hallway that runs to your left. um, to your right is a door right there, and then there's another opening in front of you that it's a very simple house floor plan, and if you were to step forward, you would be in the front living room at the front of the house.
Okay. I'll do that just to see if I'm looking for a body. I'm
Okay.
looking for somebody asleep in a chair.
You step forward into the living room, and Professor Porter seemed to have been a bit of a hoarder. There's piles of newspapers. There's piles of his book that you've been looking at in your own home. He has several boxes of this book in here. Again, there's 2 inches of this white mist that just is kind of curling and rolling on the floor.
Hmm. I'm wondering if, and I don't smell anything, so it's like not a gas leak. Or I'm kind of imagining the way you're saying it. It's like it's as if it was a Halloween dry ice sort of clouds along the
Yes,
floor. All
yes,
right.
very good.
Um, is it cold in here? I mean, it's a warm summer night.
Yeah, no, it's ambient temperature. It's not hot or cold.
Well, I'm not going to worry too much about that at the moment. It's a little weird and disturbing, but I want to see if he's in here. That's my chief concern.
Okay.
So if he's not in the living room, then I'll start down the hall. I don't see him in here anywhere, Sam. I'm going to
Yeah.
go down and check the bedrooms.
Okay. I'm right here with you. I'm coming with you.
What do you think this fog on the floor is? It's very strange.
It's the damnedest thing. As your feet walk through it, it clears away, so you can see the carpet runner and all that you're walking on, but it backfills behind you just as soon as you walk through it. So you're just kind of walking through this mist. And so there's one door at the end of this little hallway,
Right.
and I assume that you checked the other door that was by the kitchen,
Yeah.
and that was a bathroom. There was a
Okay.
small, little 3-piece bathroom, um, with a tiny window up high looking out one side of the house, right? So you walk down this short hallway. There's just a single door at the end of that hallway,
All right.
and the door is
It's
closed.
closed. Um, I'll knock on the door. Professor Porter, are you all right? And I'll open up the door.
Okay. You open up the door, and this room is filled 3 feet high with white mist. And a lot of that mist kind of starts kind of slowly cascading and falling out. And you can see in this room, which is a bedroom, you can see a headboard, and the mist is right up to the top of the mattress, and there's a large lump covered by blankets on the bed. There's a tall dresser off to one side, and you can see a side table with a lamp over there by the bed. And yeah, and you can't see anything. The mist is so thick now and deep in this room, you can't see anything from your knees down.
Oh,
Really
Sam, it's
from mid thigh down.
the mist is coming from the bedroom. It's filled with it.
Sam is right there behind you, right next to you. He's like, "Oh my God, what is this?"
And I point at the lump in the bed.
And Sam starts walking forward to go check it out.
I'm going to go to the lamp and turn it on. Is it on or is it not on?
It's not on.
Okay. I'll go to the lamp and I'll flip it on so that we can
Okay.
see what the lump is on the bed.
You pull on the drawstring and the light has that momentary like flash and then pops. And so you're plunged in darkness still, but there was that momentary flash. And you did the light, and then Sam pulled back the covers. And as he pulled back the covers, you see the corpse of Wilhelm Porter as he's sitting there, and you can see most of his right torso, his entire right leg, and portions of his right arm seem to have been eaten. You see what looks like bite marks, and then also his entire corpse seems to be covered in a thick jelly. So he's almost like preserved inside this jelly. Make a sand roll, please.
05, but that doesn't seem right.
You will lose one for having a successful sand roll. And as you're looking at Wilhelm, and he has this look of horror on his face, as you went over to do the lamp, your foot kicked something metallic on the floor, but you can't see it because it's buried in this mist. But your foot went tink against something metallic, and just as you're looking at Wilhelm, you start seeing like a kaleidoscope of lighting in the room, kind of off in your peripheral vision. And so something is lighting up the room, and it's a flashing of multiple colors. And as you start to turn, something huge coalesces. It's standing on the bed.
Oh my.
And this creature, which seems to be comprised of tubules of light that are curling and folding and unfolding upon itself, this thing, this large creature, it takes a paw and it swipes out, and you can see as it swipes out, it removes Sam's head. Make another sand roll.
Oh my God. 29. Apparently I've got a constitution on me.
Lose 1 for seeing, lose 2 for seeing your close personal friend decapitated. His torso, the air that was remaining in his lungs is burbling and bubbling the blood that's just pooling and pumping out of his throat. And as his head disappears and falls on the floor in the mist, and the creature puts a paw on Sam's corpse and just holds it down on the bed. His blood is just pouring out on the covers, and the creature just kind of looks at you as the creature puts its entire body on top of Sam's corpse and is protecting it as it looks at you.
I am bolting for the door.
Okay. Yeah, you bolt and run. And where do you run to?
I am running right to the back door and opening it up. I'm grabbing the crowbar and I'm running out.
Okay. You are fleeing.
I'm fleeing. I'm running home.
Okay. You see Sam's car parked on the street in front of your house.
I probably don't stop till I get inside my house, and then I'm breathing hard and I'm terrified and I'm trying to conceive of what it is that I saw,
Oh,
and
gain 5 sanity points, or 5 Cthulhu Mythos points.
and
And you can make a Cthulhu Mythos roll. Is there some sort of animalistic knowledge, inherent knowledge, inbred in humanity that's been unlocked by seeing this thing?
yeah, I don't pass.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. You never know. You could have rolled a 1.
I'd have a better chance of gaining that information than I would to run around the rings of Saturn. But anyways, as I'm standing there and I'm like, I can't believe what just happened. My friend, is he really dead? Am I hallucinating? And I see this sword and I'm like, I'm going to kill that thing, whatever it is. It has to be stopped or it'll kill people. So I'm going to grab the sword and I'm going to go back bravely.
All right.
In terror.
In brave terror. Okay. You head back with the sword in hand.
How did the cats react when I came out of the house and left the door open?
They don't even pay attention to you. You ran screaming from the house. They were still in their little seated positions.
All right. Maybe I'll put the necklace on as well.
Okay.
That seems to be part of this whole thing.
All right. So you put the necklace with the tingle on, and you have the bronze sword, and you go back to the house.
Yeah. I can't believe that I'm doing this. I will step into the house, sword in hand.
Since the back door is already unlocked, are you entering from the back door?
Yeah.
Okay. You have sword in hand. As you're approaching the house, you're in the backyard, you're approaching the door, you notice movement around you. All of the cats, of which now you're positive that there's now north of 60 in both the front yard and also in the backyard. As you're approaching the house with the sword in hand, the cats, the numerous dozens of cats, are coalescing and collecting and turning into a marching army behind you. And they are moving in sync with you towards the back door.
I look back at the cats, you were trying to protect us from that thing.
And they're still stalking with you as you get to the door.
All right, so I'm going to go in and I'm shaking.
As soon as you push the door open to go in, there is a flood of cats running past you, taking the lead as they just pour in. It takes several seconds for the entire host of cats to rage through your legs and run through the house, and they start pouring straight for that back bedroom.
Okay. I'm going to probably move with them.
Yep. You start chasing with them, and as you and the army of cats, you suspect that any of the cats that were in the front yard have now swarmed into the back and come and joined the fray as well. So there's probably 130 some odd cats in here. These cats start leaping on the bed and in the air, and suddenly the creature, which had apparently faded into invisibility, it starts the kaleidoscope of lighting occurs again as it reappears, and it is in now the cats are no longer silent. You're hearing these screams of cats screeching in your ears as there is a huge fury of battle being raged between cat and cat. All of these earthly cats are just leaping and flying at this bizarre alien creature, and they are all in a furious battle. You can give me a brawl roll.
27. How's my brawl? 35. So
All right.
I'm gonna try to jam the sword into whatever the thing is.
And I'm gonna
I
make.
can't really swing it because there's so many cats. Probably hit
Yep.
cats.
I need to do a fight back against you. Oh, it failed. So your attack is successful. The damage for the bronze sword.
D6 plus 1 plus damage bonus. I don't know. It's magic.
I believe so. I've got it in here somewhere. What did I do? Here it is. 1d8 plus 1 plus damage bonus.
I have no damage bonus.
3. Okay. It will try to attack you as well as attacking the other cats. Do you want to fight back or dodge?
I will try to dodge. I failed.
I failed as well.
Okay, so we both failed.
Okay. And the cats, let's see. There's a certain amount of cat damage that the cats do. Okay, you can make your attack roll, and I'm going to do a fight back.
Once again, trying to thrust into the center of it.
Okay.
I got a 14 out of 35, so that is a hard.
Fantastic. Okay, roll your damage, d8 plus 1.
3.
And it tries to attack you.
Oh.
Ooh.
Unfortunately, I did not dodge that time.
Okay, you are caught by one of the claws. And it does... Four points of damage.
All right.
And okay, you're gonna make an attack.
Yeah,
It's gonna try and fight back.
I failed.
And I failed, which really sucks.
There's so much going on in this room with the dozens and dozens of cats attacking it. And...
Yeah, and so it's making another attack against you.
All right. Regular.
And I failed, so you're successful. The cats whittle it down. You can make another attack.
24 out of 35, so regular.
I have a hard success.
Ah.
So it swats you in return for 2 points of damage. Okay. I rolled the absolute lowest I could.
I have been... It's more than half, so I have been pretty badly wounded.
But it hasn't been in a single blow. So
no, it hasn't.
You're just being whittled down.
Right.
All right, and then but the fight was prolonged enough that the you can tell the creature, its lights were dimming and getting darker, and finally and with every swipe of the paw, you're seeing, by the handful, regular tabby cats are just being torn in half, but other cats are landing attacks, and so finally this alien creature, it seems to have been succumbed by the cats. What easily had to have been 130 plus cats. Probably only about 3 dozen are leaving this bedroom alive. This bedroom is literally covered in corpses, cat corpses, knee deep, Wilhelm's corpse covered in some sort of mucus, and Sam's headless corpse laying on the bed. Roll a d3.
1.
Lose 1 sand. As you're kind of catching your breath, the white mist is evaporating, and basically it just completely goes away and is gone.
What is the metal thing on the floor?
A singing bowl.
Singing bowl. I'm going to snatch that up.
Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take it. It's very late at night. Yes.
Yes.
Very quiet on the street. I'm going to take the sword, the singing bowl, my necklace, and so forth. Are there any books or ritual books or anything like that that are here?
Just tons of copies of
that same thing.
Professor Porter's book, which
Right.
you already have one.
All right. I'm going to take those things back to my house.
Okay.
And I am going to call the police.
Okay.
And my story is going to be that, considering that I was quite concerned, a friend came and we decided to break into the house to see if the professor was there. And there was a large wild animal, we think escaped from the zoo. And I barely escaped with my life. Obviously, I'm wounded, so I'm bleeding and I'm sliced up from the thing. My friend was not so fortunate, and the professor is dead and had been partly consumed, I guess. And the cats, whatever, the cats must have been attracted somehow by this other large cat. And what else can we do? The rest of it's mystery. But I just want to make sure I didn't get blamed for it, or Sam.
All right. And so yeah, you call the cops. They send several cars. They go in and check out the crime scene. Many of them come out puking, but you have physical evidence on yourself of being wounded that is consistent with a large animal. And they call their headquarters and report that there is a large animal on the loose in
Something
Arkham,
like a lion. Yeah.
and it makes the newspapers. But of course, no escaped lion is reported. No escaped lion or wild cougar of any sort, or bobcat is ever discovered. And eventually it fades away. But yeah, you solved the case and banished the cat from Saturn.
And I probably then start doing some more research, because obviously something weird's going on.
Something weird was definitely
and
going
I become
on.
the next dream warrior.
Very good. And that is the Silent Clowder.
Really, really good story. Yeah.
Thank you. Did you have a good time?
Yes. Oh, yes, very much. I love these games. Can I assume, I can make some assumptions, but you can correct me. The professor was a cloud warrior, except that he encountered a cat from Saturn, which came through with him, and it killed him, obviously.
In his grief, he attempted to use Tibetan lucid dreaming to maybe try and reach a version of his wife, but he's not an experienced dreamer, and so he did the ritual incorrectly and ended out attracting the attention of a cat from Saturn that took advantage of him and started consuming him. The cat from Saturn secreted a mucus that coats its quarry so that it doesn't rot, it doesn't smell, and he
Fresh
can
meat,
he can he can live off of it for quite some time. But
and the cats are the mortal enemies, so
human cats, earthly cats are the mortal enemies. They were staying silent in order to not alert their presence to the cat from Saturn, that they were slowly building an army outside, and they were waiting until either they had sufficient numbers to try and break in and do away with the animal, or if a mortal warrior should arrive, they would assist that warrior, which they would recognize by the sword.
Sure.
But there we go.
Cool.
All right,
Neat
let's close the show.
Our players included me, with John Hook as the keeper of the secrets. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up a private game, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastery. Here's the link below. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. Excuse me. The costs involved with the show are provided almost entirely by our patrons. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. If you'd like to help support our show, please visit our Patreon account. Just $1 to a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and touch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good game.